welcome to another episode of Draft Room. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the podcast about design. I'm very excited about my next guest here. We have our friend, local social media superstar, Allie, or AKA SugarPusher. Everybody welcome her to the show, yes. All right, so let's dive in real quick. Let's give a little background of kind of what you do, and then we'll kind of talk more about kind of the success of it now. So go ahead.
Okay. So I am a digital content creator. I'm also a pastry chef and a chocolatier. And so I make predominantly food and drink content. And it's really fun and I love it.
Yeah. So I'll give a little background here. You have 442,000 followers on Instagram, 11,000 followers on Facebook, but the big one is TikTok, 460,000 followers, and 19 of your videos have gone over 1 million views. That's insane. I got one of mine clips going over 1 million. I'm freaked out. But so you do it on a more like steady basis, and it's really picked up until now. This is your solo gig. This is what you do, right?
Yeah, this is what I do for a living, and it's really
that's amazing.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about how you got into it. I know probably as a lot of origin stories start with COVID. I think yours did similar there.
Yeah.
So talk about how you began to get into it and when you finally realized that this is something you could do on a full-time basis.
Yeah, so one of my younger, cooler friends suggested right smack the beginning of the pandemic. She was like, you know what? Start making baking videos on TikTok. And I was like, I'm too old to use TikTok, I think. I don't think we're allowed on there. And so I started with just kind of like a little bit of lifestyle stuff, and that didn't really hit. And so I started making baking content, tutorials predominantly. And then it just kind of took off. After a few months, it was like a couple 100,000. And then it was like maybe within the first 6 months, I had the first over 1 million view video.
Wait, so you're kind of niche sort of presentation. It's usually smaller, everything in small form. Were you doing that from the very beginning? No, because you were doing regular pastry stuff first, and then you moved over to it. So talk about that sort of journey there.
Full-size stuff originally, right. Tutorials. Right. That's originally what worked. The thing with social media is the landscape is always changing. So what works at first and what gets you going viral at first might not work after 6 months, a year. And sort of the bigger that you get sometimes, the more things kind of stall out, right? The more your growth stalls out. So you always have to kind of keep trying things and just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. So it didn't start out tiny. I started out with tutorials and, recipes and things like that.
Right.
And then on TikTok, so my audiences are completely different across platforms. On TikTok, one day I was like, I'm going to make a video of this cake scraping that I do, right? So I have a zombie cake that, lives in my freezer.
Explain what the zombie cake is.
Yeah. It's a cake that I was so tired of wasting cake, right? It's still the height of the pandemic. Like Joe has had a lot of cakes because I was like, hey, I got a lot of extra cake and I need somebody to eat it. So a lot of my friends were getting a lot of cake and people were like, that's too much cake. So I just started refrosting the same cake over and over again, putting it in my freezer, frosting it, unfrosting, so I could teach decorating tutorials.
Like really. A wedding cake over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And so it's just like, it was like a square cake, and I would just frost it, mostly so I could show people piping techniques, different design ideas, without having to waste ingredients, without having to find somebody to come over and grab cake from me. Right. And the first video I made had millions of views. I think it now is at 21 million.
Yeah.
And it's just, people loved it.
Right, and you made I think in that particular video, you made a big deal about not being wasteful.
Yeah.
And I think I recall you saying that you did get some pushback on some of that too.
Yeah.
How did you get pushback on that?
People were like, well, why are you wasting the frosting? Couldn't you donate the frosting that you're scraping off to a homeless person? And I'm like...
Yeah. Who would you donate that to?
I don't think I want to walk up to an unhoused person and say, would you like this bag of frosting that I've just scraped off a cake?
And feel like you have accomplished something by giving them frosting?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's the healthiest thing either. So,
yeah.
Lots of, it's never good enough, right? on the internet. Like nothing that you do is ever right or good enough.
If you're not pissing somebody off, I don't think you're getting any reach.
No,
So
no, you're not.
There
no.
it is. Yeah.
That's how you know a video is like going viral, is when you start getting a lot of comments.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, there's a lot of comments on. There's a lot of comments on
Right.
this, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna turn off my phone now.
Yeah, I remember I did this one where about asking like the most painful place to get tattooed, and then a lot of people chimed in, but a lot of people chimed in is like, nope, you're wrong.
Oh yeah.
That's not the worst place. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty subjective, buddy. Yeah. It's like, so you get to hate no matter what you do, right?
Well, they love being right and they love feeling superior. A lot of people get online
Sure.
and they love that, and they love like aiming that at content creators. And it's just like, I guarantee you there is a content creator that you like, that you watch every day, that you look forward to their videos, and maybe because they're doing like a different niche, you don't recognize them as being a content creator, but they are. So like,
oh, right, yeah, exactly. All right, I want to step back a little bit because what we skipped over was some of your formal training as a pastry chef,
Yeah.
right? So you were working at a restaurant here in town, a pretty
yeah.
popular one. Is Cotton Row?
Yeah.
Okay, so you worked at Cotton Row as a pastry chef there, right? And how long were you there?
not long.
Okay.
About 6 months maybe.
Okay.
I had my own menu. My desserts did really well. But I didn't like working in somebody else's kitchen.
Okay.
And quite frankly, as a woman, it is different.
Okay.
It's been different in every kitchen that I've been in, professionally and commercially here in Huntsville. But it was a problem. And so, it wasn't the right environment for me. And so I left. I tried something else. I tried kind of corporate, big grocery store cake decorating. I tried running my own cottage food bakery, and that was better. But, once I started doing the content creation and making the kind of money that I was making videos,
Right.
versus what people here don't want to pay for a cake. Like they'll come to you and they'll want this thing they've seen on Pinterest that's, 4 tiers with fondant and all of these like figures. And then they're like, I want this for $100.
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Is that where your mini stuff came in? You're like, I can make it for this fucking big, and this is why you can afford it for $100.
Yeah. No, that was really, the mini stuff was really strange,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So you're doing regular size stuff, and you're getting some traction. So where does the leap into doing little tiny things?
So as a content creator, you get sent a lot of stuff. And
Oh, yeah, okay.
so I was making like maybe miniature cakes like this big, and it was part of what I was doing on TikTok, and people liked it. But this company that makes miniatures, all real functioning miniatures, I think they're based in Indonesia. Everything's handmade by a small team of people, like less than 6 people. And they make real working tiny ovens. And they were like, we want to send you one of these. We think you could make some content with this.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And so I did it, and like the first video popped off, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, this could be fun.
And so if the audience doesn't out there know, or people don't know, the oven is powered by a candle.
Yeah.
A tiny little,
Yeah.
was it
2 tea lights.
tea
yeah.
light candles, which is, man, it's pretty cool.
People ask me all the time, does it really bake things? Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. There is obviously camera magic, right? If I'm having a shoot day where I've got to shoot like 6 miniature things back to back to back, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have 15 minutes for this tiny cake to cook, so I'm going to put it in. Or if it's something like cookies, it'll cook most of the way, and then I'll brown it in like my toaster oven.
Okay.
So that it looks more
Got it.
like it was cooked in a real
It's
oven.
the magic going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. All right. And so when did you really start noticing that so do you think the most popular ones now are the smaller stuff, or it was more, so right now your most popular ones are the miniature everythings?
Well, what's really interesting is that my TikTok's really stalled, right? So nothing really performs over there anymore, and I don't care. It is what it is. But it's still not. TikTok doesn't care about the miniature stuff. Instagram does. So miniature stuff performs really well for me on Instagram. It does not perform well for me on TikTok.
What's your thoughts behind that? Why is that?
Different folks.
Yeah?
Just different people. Those platforms are very different. They have different viewers. Even if there's people like you and me that use both platforms,
Yeah.
the people that are really engaged in the platforms are different. And the content just gets pushed out in different ways. The algorithms are kind of constantly shape-shifting. And it's just weird.
I mean, I can guess at what I think your demo is, but tell me what your demo is so I don't guess wrong here.
Like 97% women.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought.
And it used to be more women like around my age, in my age range and demographic. and people slightly younger than me. But when I went super viral on Instagram with, I think, 127 million views on a tiny video, that's when I got a...
Wait, you say 127 million?
Mm-hmm. I think that's when I started getting a lot of young viewers,
Okay.
which ideal for a platform like Instagram that wants young eyes on the platform, less ideal for creators because they don't engage with content as much. So it's just really interesting. So like my Instagram and my TikTok audiences are very different in demographics. Still mostly women and girls, but yeah, it's a big age leap between platforms.
That's crazy. You'd think they'd be so similar. I
No.
mean, video content's video content, but
No,
it's
and
not.
it puts a lot of pressure on creating. It's like having two jobs, right? Because you have to make two different styles of content for both platforms.
Yeah.
Facebook, you can really kind of repurpose whatever you're posting on Instagram,
Right.
right?
So you kind of just drain it over
Yeah.
from Instagram, right?
Yeah, and that's
exactly.
easy. But with TikTok, it's just...
But your demo's still the same regardless. You're still looking at 97, 98%, somewhere in there, women, regardless of the platform.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's what I thought. Except for, I'm going to say this again, you have one guy that now is following you. Let's tell everybody out who that is.
Gordon Ramsay
Yeah.
started following me because I make videos for Fox. So I've made videos for a lot of his shows.
Okay.
And recently I made a cake where I did like an edible image on it. And at the end I cut the slice like right, that was his head. And then I just forked at the very last shot. I just stuck a fork right through his face. And I commented on the video when Fox posted, and I was like, haha, I hope Gordon's not mad I cut into his face. And they started following me. I was like, is he going to yell at me? Like,
I don't know. It seems like you might dig that, right?
I'm scared.
Nah.
I'm scared of Gordon Ramsay.
No,
so
I'm sure, yeah.
he yells at people a lot. That's kind of his thing.
Well, let's talk a little bit about sponsorship. So you just mentioned Fox here. I mean, that's huge. So how did that come about? And, how do we get Fox? How do you get them to sponsor anything you do, right? So, yeah, how did that happen?
It's so interesting. Everything feels very random. It's mostly being consistent with posting, right? And showing up consistently with when you post, how much you post. A lot of it goes around going viral, right? So like when I go viral, I get more jobs because companies are like, oop, we're picking these creators that are super hot right now and we know they'll be good to work with, and that increases our chances of having a viral moment. Every company's goal pretty much is like virality.
Yeah, sure.
Some companies understand that, yeah, you might get that, and the good ones understand that it's never what you think it's going to be that's going to go viral. And you can't control it. The creator can't control it at all. Sure. I have many times followed the exact formula for a video that's gone massively viral, and it doesn't do anything near what that does. So it's really just kind of luck of the draw. And with sponsorships, it's companies find me through usually Instagram these days and then reach out. I've got a management team, so my management team also pulls in, here's a contact here, here's a contact there. If people reach out to me wanting to send me free stuff, I send them to my management team so they can be like, well, do you want to do, a paid partnership?
I see, yeah.
Because I've really gotten to a place early in my career. I was working for product and working for free essentially a lot and doing a lot of work. I mean, creating, what I do isn't just getting on camera and unboxing something, which is its own set of work for creators that do that, right? But like I'm making something with my hands. I'm making a cake, I'm making macarons, I'm making a tiny dessert, and those are a pain. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Those are a pain in the ass, by the way. Those tiny cakes take so much longer to frost. I would rather frost a 3-tiered wedding cake than have to frost one of those tiny cakes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's so much
How does that
cursing.
be messed up? I'm going to imagine.
There's so much cursing in the background of my videos. I wish people knew how much cursing is happening in the background of my videos. But yeah, it's really just a matter of staying consistent, having good management. My management company is amazing. Wow. So I have this company.
How long have you had the management company?
I've been with this company for just under a year, I think. Okay. They're the second company I've tried. My first one was not good.
Really?
And these guys are great. They're called Sparkle Agency. They're originally based in Italy, and they've just started gaining a presence in the U.S.
Okay.
and it's been amazing.
Is that
to
something where
grow
you
with them.
reached out to them, or is that something they reached
No,
out
they
to you?
reached out to me.
Does everything just come to you like that? Because
No. Well, it's so.
Is that how it works? Because I'm not getting that.
What's really interesting was the girl that I work with. So one of my biggest things with brand partnerships and sponsorships is actually building a rapport with those companies. I only work with companies that I love, shows I watch, products I use that I love, that I stand by. Those sorts of things. Like, my integrity is really important to me, which I know a lot of people don't associate that sort of mentality with creators. There are a lot of creators out there that do have that mentality.
Sure.
But you hear the word content creator or influencer, and a lot of people have, a negative association with that. So for me, it's really important to pick things that I know are great, that I stand by, that I love, that I use in my everyday life, and really build relationships with those companies. I don't just want to work with a company that's one and done. I want long-term partnerships, because that is what keeps the lights on, so to speak, right? And it's more enjoyable to work with a client that I've been working with for 3 or 4 years versus a client that hired me once and I never hear from them again.
Sure.
And so this agency, it was a girl that I had worked with on, I want to say, some TV show that I had done a cake for, like a Halloween cake for. And she had worked at that TV company at the time, and then she went over to be a manager at that agency. And so she reached out to me. She said, I remember we only worked together once. And she was like, you were so great to work with. I'd really like to sign you as a client with my agency. And so that's those are the relationships I like having. So building that, and it had been a couple years since I had done that gig, and I had never thought anything of it. And years later, here she is, and she's been
Yeah, it's funny
now.
who you meet and start working with that you don't know what that becomes. It's funny, like, how the hell does Gordon Ramsay get anything done? He's a dick to everybody, right? And yeah, if you're really good to work with, and you get future work, so it's kind of funny like that. But yeah, that's really interesting. So I had a question about some of the videos I'm watching. I noticed, or maybe I'm wrong about this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but you started getting into some of the ASMR.
Yeah.
Some of the sounds. Have you done that from the very beginning, or are you pouring that on more more lately?
I'm doing more of it on
Oh, wait,
Instagram.
explain to everybody what that is in case you're unfamiliar.
It's just sounds,
yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
I don't actually even know what the acronym stands for. I do, but I don't.
I did for a minute, and then I forgot to type it out. So.
But it's the thing that people get really mad about now.
Yeah.
Is when when girls tap their fingernails on things when they're showing products, and people are like, "Stop tapping your nails!" And it's like, it's ASMR.
Right.
A lot of people like it.
Are really into it.
If you don't like it, scroll. It's so magical. On social media, there's this thing called scrolling, where if you don't like something, you just take your finger, like magic, and just go boop, and then it's gone.
That's crazy.
Or you can click not interested, and you never have to see it again. But yeah, I did it a lot on TikTok and wasn't doing it so much on Instagram.
Okay.
But people seem to like it. So
people love that shit.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I guess it's not odd. I don't want to shit on anybody's kink.
I mean,
but
I didn't really get it. I didn't really get it until the algorithm. One day I watched one slime video.
Wait,
and
what?
then like a slime, like slime, like people make slime and they make them all different colors, and it's really ASMR driven, and they make like all the
like the stuff you play, like a toy.
Yeah, like slime. So there's all different textures of it. I know too much about slime now, and I hate that for myself. But I watched one slime video, and the algorithm was like, well, "You like slime now," and now I get a ton of slime videos, and it's the ASMR, and I have to turn it on, and it's like, and I'm like, oh, I don't know why but it makes my brain go, like, I don't know what it is or why, but it's really satisfying. So I can't.
So have you noticed when doing that you're getting a little more traction, or not really? Or obviously you're doing it, so it's helping some way or another, right?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's more popular on TikTok than it is on Instagram, but Instagram's algorithm is changing so much, pretty much by the day.
Okay.
That sometimes it hits really well on Instagram. I've got like a weird video of marshmallows. I make a lot of weird flavored marshmallows. And there's one of me just pulling the marshmallows apart with the squishing, and people are like, that had
Are you
a couple
pulling a mic
million.
in real close to get that, or are you just doing normal?
I have little Rode mics
Okay.
that I use, wireless Rode mics that I love. I've got a bunch of stuff. I don't pull like my Yeti mic out for it. I just use my little Rode mics, and like they work pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just kind of have to get it where it's close enough, but it's not in the shot, because you never want somebody to see the mic. It ruins the magic of the ASMR. So you just got to kind of keep it out. And there's just this video. It's got millions of views of me just pulling marshmallows apart, because it's like, I don't know. It's weird. People like what they like. And
People like that stuff. Man.
I like what gets views. So, you know.
You're
works.
serving the public here. All right. Do you have any particular plans that you know you're going to try some new stuff? Are you taking a break, or what's the next 6 months look like for SugarPusher?
There's no breaks. There are never any breaks. There's just
Because you can
trying
never come back
things.
from a break, like a long break, right?
No.
Like you lose that momentum or something?
Yeah, you really got to keep posting. Like, that's the thing. You got to post
Right.
pretty consistently. The thing for me is, so I've been in a couple of the creator programs. I've been in a creator program at TikTok. I've been in the creator program at Meta,
Wait,
Instagram.
explain what the creator program is.
So certain creators get kind of cherry picked to be in creator programs where they're managed. It's called a managed creator community. So it's other creators, sometimes from your sort of genre or niche, sometimes from all different sort of genres and niches. And then there's like a person or people that work at TikTok or work at Meta, Instagram, etc.
Okay.
And they're like the creator community manager. So they do a lot of like PowerPoint slides and stuff to tell you like, here's what you can try. Here's what,
Right.
it's a thing. And so I've been in a couple of those, and my creator community manager at Meta, who's amazing. One of the things that she really drilled into us it's like a 6-month program. One of the things that she really drilled into us was, remember your why. Like, why are you doing this? Forget about the views, forget about the audience. What do you want to create? Because when you start creating and you don't have a platform yet, you're just creating whatever you want, right? Or whatever you like. Like the tiny videos were like, I'm going to try this. And then that hit. And like the cake scraping videos were like, ha ha ha, shits and giggles. And then millions of views. And it's like,
Right.
oh, so really remembering, like, as a creator, because you can get burnout so easily over the years when you keep doing it long term and it's your only job and it's your full-time job and you're successful at it. Being creative takes, a lot of work that I think a lot of people don't realize, right? Like creative things, people see it as people flitting about and like, oh, everything is so easy. And it really isn't. Like, you got to think, when you're creating content, I'm filming, I'm editing. I don't know how to do any of this shit, by the way. Like, I don't have any training on a camera.
Right.
I don't know how to record. I didn't know how
Well,
to do
you're
anything.
faking it well. I just want to let you know.
Thanks.
No, I'm for real.
Like, I still use free editing software for
Sure.
all my photos. I'm so scared to like use Lightroom or anything. So, there's so much that goes into it. You're filming it, you're editing it, you're in the planning stages, you're emailing, you're communicating with management, you're communicating with, if you don't have management, with all these companies that you're working with. You got to have brainstorming calls, you got to do this, that, get all the supplies, all of those things. You have to keep researching, watching other people's content, like what's hitting right now, what's trending, being aware of what's on TV, what songs are hot on the radio. I make some pop culture driven content. So in the next 6 months for me, there's going to be a shift in a lot more pop culture relevant content, song lyric cakes, things that are inspired by TV shows, movies, funny stuff. I'm a reality TV junkie,
Okay.
like the worst of the worst, like 90 Day Fiancé. I'm obsessed with 90 Day Fiancé. I shouldn't admit that to
90
people.
Day Fiancé?
Obsessed.
Are you going to make a cake toward it?
Probably.
Put a fork in someone's face and maybe
Probably.
they'll repost it?
I've got a Mormon Housewives video that I've got to make for a company coming up. So
Yes.
for me, kind of shifting over to like what's hot right now, right?
Okay.
Because I notice that's what's kind of performing is a lot of
Mormons.
pop culture stuff. Yeah, Mormons.
Mormons are hot right now. All right.
Mormons are so hot. Please let that be the soundbite.
That clip will go viral. That'll be the one. I'm like, what the hell? Mormons are totally into it.
They will be. Just clip that. It'll be great.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, there's no quitting. I love my job. It's just you have to have time to recharge as a creative.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't think people realize that.
No.
I don't think people realize how much work goes into it, and that I actually work more hours now doing this and being self-employed
Right.
than I did in a full-time 8 to 5 like litigation paralegal job. So, I'm usually working. I'm on my phone at like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to reply to that email that I meant to reply to at 3 today when I read it, and then I forgot.
Right.
And that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just throwing stuff at the wall really and seeing what sticks and doing what I love doing, making stuff that like, because I think it shines through, right? When you're watching somebody's content, whether they really enjoy doing it or not.
Yeah, if they're passionate or not
Yeah.
about it. I reposted some article recently about how AI is going to take over everything. Actually, I think you're kind of safe in your world with AI for now.
I don't know.
But the real thing was the point of the article was that the real passionate people who are creating their art are the ones that are going to stand out from AI.
Yeah.
And I love that, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, the passion shows, and that's
Yeah.
the point of the different, between AI generated things and still human for now. Again, I
Listen.
always caveat AI like that always.
I don't know, because I've seen so many people, AI and people on Facebook are just made for each other, but I see all of these horrible AI recipes with pictures that are so clearly AI.
Oh, yeah.
And people are like, what's the recipe? I need to know how to make it. And then the recipe's like, I wouldn't trust that if I were
Yeah.
you. Like, and then it's this really obviously AI picture and they're like, this looks so great. And it's like, I'd like to see AI make tiny content. That'd be fun. Put some hands in it. I'd love to see what it does with tiny hands.
7 fingers and then you're burnt from
Fumbling
the
the
candles they're
cake.
putting in the little. Yeah, exactly. Well, I was so excited to have you on. It's really great to see somebody locally here in Huntsville just kind of push through the ceiling of audiences and reach, because it's so hard to do. And it's about the consistency, but I love how you wrapped it up there. I think it's about passion,
Yeah.
and I think that's clear. That's what you have in the differentiator when you put your content out there. So it was so great to have a conversation with you about all that, and I hope you find a way to stay ahead of that curve and continue to do really good content and put Huntsville on the map continually. So, Allie, SugarPusher, thank you so much for coming on the show. Please, everybody, give it up for Allie. So awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, wait, let's also tell everybody where they can find your content. So go ahead, do a plug.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at SugarPusher, and that's really it. I don't really do YouTube much, so. But
There
I'm
you
there
go.
too. I'm there as SugarPusher too.
All right.
If you guys all want to go follow that and build that up, that's the
Gordon
next
Ramsay,
thing.
Britney Spears, they all know about it. So everybody should jump on, like her content. Again, thank you. So give it up one more time for
Thanks for
Allie.
having
Thank you so much. Awesome.